The John Lebang Show has been known to make people laugh, sing, think, scream, throw things in rage, and generally lose their minds. Listener discretion is advised. Show is bringing you Intergalactic Virtual Infinity Week. Since everybody else makes up holidays, we thought we'd do one better. And we wouldn't just give you one day like Cinco de Mayo or May the 4th or 420 or Easter or Christmas. We decided we'd give you an entire week. We should do an entire month of it, but at least an entire week of intergalactic virtual infinity. Thank you for joining me, ladies and gentlemen. We're a little on the humorous side this fine broadcast. We were going over things we might discuss before the show, and we kept turning this down and turning that down. We don't want to talk about this, and we don't want to talk about that. The news has become repetitive, boring, the same lazy topics. You know, Stormy Daniels, the Mueller investigation, North Korea. It's just not worth putting the effort into digging into something that is just tabloid news. So we thought we would talk about virtual infinity. Our special presentation coming up in, we're a week away, less than a week away as of this broadcast. 6 months of putting together a radio theater project that I'm very proud to say it is one of the best we've ever created. It took a lot of imagination. We also have some of the best special effects that we've ever touched on. We've broken new boundaries. We're actually thinking of calling it like a 3D radio experience. Because not only are you going to hear this stuff in stereo, but you're going to hear things flying and going from ear to ear, walking across, spinning around. It's a real, full-blown experience. That's why we called it Virtual Infinity. It's just not a single little event. Anything and everything can happen in this adventure. And hopefully, as the broadcast continues, I can get you excited about what's coming, because we're very excited about it. Like to welcome our new sponsor as well, Quality One Painting. We just brought them on. Tom over there at Quality One. Check them out if you're in the Metro Detroit area. This virtual infinity has been it's been a long process. And please indulge me, ladies and gentlemen. Please indulge me in discussing this subject matter and not diving into the tabloid news that is that you can get anywhere. Here on the John Lebang Show, we've been really, because we had a real downtime in April. It was a rough month for us, and we had some time to reflect on what we were going to do and how we're going to handle the show in the future. We were hoping to have some upgrades in, and that hasn't transpired because the money that we thought we would have to upgrade our equipment had to be shuffled to more emergency type things, and we are now struggling to find a way to upgrade the equipment so we can make things a little easier on us here and be even more competitive out there with our peers. Because in some ways we've come to a little spot where we need to upgrade what we have, get better equipment, make things more automated, so that way we can produce the best shows possible. We're living on some pretty ancient equipment, and it is now like showing that we can't keep up with some of the other shows out there as far as being able to produce things easily. And continue to grow the show on many, because I can't take on many more stations at this point, not because we don't want to grow, but it's the workload. The workload is so huge that producing 3 shows a week, each and every week, because we're very consistent, and being on so many stations and having so many delivery methods to every station, it's put a little bit of a hold on our growth at this point. We said, okay, we can't grow anymore until we upgrade a little bit, because we don't want the show's quality to take a hit in the effort to grow the show, because it's going to counterbalance and we won't be able to grow the show if we're not producing quality radio for our affiliate stations as well as our listeners. So we had some time to contemplate, and we're trying to reformulate, redirect our efforts in a more efficient way and find some means, some way of bringing in the income we need to upgrade when we're in this independent situation. Sometimes it's hard to upgrade, and unlike our peers, they don't produce these giant radio theater productions, and they have the automated software, and that's where we're at. We need to modernize our equipment so that we can make things easier on our broadcast. And these specials, like Virtual Infinity, which we're going to be playing you cuts throughout the night, small little tidbits to get you excited about Virtual Infinity. I should be talking about that all night, but do you really want to hear an hour of what Virtual Infinity is going to be when you're going to hear it next week? We want to tease you. We don't want to bore you. So we have to find other subject matter to discuss. But we're just, as a broadcaster, and I'm sure many of my peers would feel the same way. As a broadcaster, you want to feel like you're constantly producing good material and you're constantly staying on the cutting edge. And we've come to a point where we can't get much more cutting edge with what we have. because we've taken our equipment. I mean, we push our equipment to the maximum each and every week. So we're thinking of having some kind of radio-thon special here in the future, coming in the summer or something. But that's a tough time because everybody's busy in the summer. Even I am dying to get out to the garden and just rip that sucker up and start planting. Winter lasted a little bit longer than we expected here. Well, most of us expected. And so that has put off the planting process and the tilling process. My garden area is still a bit muddy. Every time we get 3 or 4 days of nice weather to dry it out so I might be able to till a little bit, it rains and then we're back to square one and I've got to wait until it dries out again, because you can't really till in mud because it's just a nasty endeavor. So I can't wait to do that. I think I'm going to plant a lot more corn than I normally do. I'm going to attempt a couple other vegetables that I haven't grown. I also have an idea about building up a section to where it's off the ground more and putting in my lettuce and my small items, getting it off ground level, keeping it away from the bugs, making it more accessible to me, keeping the weeds out and pruning these plants to grow more properly so I have a more abundant harvest when I do harvest. Because there's been some soil issues over the last few years, or at least I think it's soil issues. I don't know, though. The garden hasn't quite produced what it did in the past. And I think I maybe need to rejuvenate some of the soil, unless it's some other factors that I'm not able to control, weather and what's in the atmosphere and what floats down to the ground that gets into the soil that could damage the soil. All I can do is try to keep up my soil there. And maybe we'll start talking about gardening tips here on the show, because that's something I had been thinking about, is how are we going to produce the John Lebang Show? What subject matter are we going to talk about in the future? Because I've had it to death with the mainstream media and the politicians and the superstar, all these big time popular things and all the mainstream ideas. I'm kind of done with it. We'll probably be forced into talking about these things as we get closer to the elections that are coming up, the midterms here, and in 2 years from now we'll have the presidential election already. Already we're going to have to live through that again. As I said in the first hour, I might be sitting out. I don't know. I'm unsure what I'm going to do. I'm so, and I know there are a lot of you that feel the same way. There are so many of us who feel so discouraged with the political system as it is. It's a system based on hate, divide and conquer. It's not a system on building each individual up. It's a system of agendas of certain groups over other groups. And the individual rights don't matter as much if you're not part of the popular group at the time, or the important group that might be able to sway a great deal of votes one way or the other. If you're just one, they don't care about you, even though everybody is just one. So they should care about all of us, but they would rather herd you into groups, you're this group,